John Stossel did this special on this a couple years ago on teachers who had inappropriate behavior with children. I won't go into the details. You can imagine what I'm talking about. They wouldn't let them in the classroom. They couldn't fire them. They had a special building, the house in New York City, 400 teachers that were so inappropriate you couldn't. They were dangerous to be around children, but you couldn't fire them because the contract was 14 pages long and it was you're unable to fire them. But the guy that really got my attention that they found at the EPA was a guy who hadn't been working for 6 weeks, and he kept getting all these great performance reviews, made over $150,000 a year. He was the right-hand man to Gene McCarthy at the top. And they said, well, they did something extraordinary. They interviewed his boss. They said, well, why doesn't he come to work? They said, well, he also works for the CIA. I'm like, really? The EPA and the CIA at the same time? It's an interesting combo. So they did something really extraordinary. They called the CIA. And they said, Jonathan who? His name was Jonathan Beale. But he never had worked in the CIA, but for years he'd just not been showing up. So I'm imagining Jonathan Beale, he's got to have a pool, that's just the way I imagine it. He's got a pool, he's sitting by his pool, and he's drinking a beer. His boss calls and says, Jonathan, aren't you coming in? No, I'm on secret assignment to Istanbul. The president doesn't think we can cut in. He doesn't want to negotiate over any cuts, and this is the kind of examples you have throughout government. But I get frustrated because you really have to do some of the difficult things. You have to look at entitlements. I'm not for getting rid of Social Security or getting rid of Social Security, Medicare. I'm for saying, how do you save them? Social Security is $6 trillion short. Medicare is $35 trillion short. The way you save them is you have to have some tough love. My generation is going to have to wait. Those of you who are on Social Security, Medicare, nothing will change. My generation will have to wait a little longer to get it. It's the only way you fix it. You can fix 2/3 of the Social Security problem by raising the age of 2 months a year for about 30 years. Reagan did it back in 1983. We went from 65 to 67. Nobody's jumping up and down saying it's fun, but we're living longer. When Social Security was created, it was 65 average life expectancy. Now it's 80. When Social Security was created, it was 16 workers to 1 retiree. Now it's 3 workers to 1 retiree. Doctors in the room complain about they're not paying enough. No one's going to go into medicine. Yeah, it's a global problem, though. It's not a specific problem.